Hi guys, it's Nikki with Nikki Speaks, and I'm back with another video. We will be getting into Stefon Diggs and Cardi B going to the Super Bowl and why everybody is so upset about that. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So, the internet has been in a frenzy over the past few weeks. The New England Patriots did beat out the Broncos to become the AFC champions, and what that means for them is they are going to the Super Bowl. But what it meant to a lot of trolls and just a lot of people on the internet is not only is Stefon Diggs, who is the wide receiver for the Patriots, going to the Super Bowl, but it also means that Cardi B will be there as well. Now, why this is news, I don't know personally, because Cardi was at the Super Bowl last year and has frequented a few Super Bowls, as do a lot of celebrities. I mean, Super Bowl is a time for celebrities to show up, put on their best pieces, and just be in the place, be in the house. So it's not unusual for Cardi B to be at this year's Super Bowl, whether Stefon was going to be there or not. But here's the thing. Here's the other part of that. But listen, I think that this took a horrible turn when all of the sports publications, all of the media publications, all of entertainment news focused on Cardi B being at Stefon Diggs' game, the game that they won for AFC Championship, when photographs and videos started circulating around the internet of her congratulating him for going to the Super Bowl on the field when these videos started circulating from news sources like the NFL, the Patriots, News. When they started posting this, it started going viral. And I think that a lot of people had a problem with the fact that a lot of people was loving on Stefon Diggs and Cardi B. A lot of people that are not into hip hop, not into this community, but more or less into the football community was just, I mean, they were loving seeing them happy. They were talking about Cardi B being there. They were even calling the Super Bowl possibly the Cardi Bowl. And I think that it's not necessarily a lot of the general public that's upset, but a lot of stands that may be upset by this. And I think that they may be upset because Cardi is getting a lot of attention and she tends to do that because, I mean, let's face it, she's a likable celebrity. She's a likable person. But let's get into some of the theories and some of the things that people are saying. So, a Nicki Minaj fan page said that couple and the Super Bowl feels staged, it's giving PR and rigged. She also went on to say, and yes, I could be wrong, and that's okay. Everything just seems real convenient. So I personally had to chuckle at that theory myself because to think that the Super Bowl or the NFL, for that matter, is rigging the Super Bowl specifically for Cardi B and Stefan is hilarious. A lot of people are saying that Bad Bunny may bring Cardi B out to perform, which has, in my opinion, absolutely nothing to do with Stefan Diggs and whether or not he's going to the Super Bowl or even wins the Super Bowl. Bad Bunny and Cardi B have a global hit. I like it. And it would just make sense that he would bring her out. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But if he does, I mean, that wouldn't be so far fetched. And if he does decide to bring her out, I don't think that it would just be a spur of the moment idea. I don't think that he would wait until a week or 2 weeks before the Super Bowl and say, hey, let's get Cardi to come out. Trust me, he's been practicing for this for a while. He has a routine down. So if Cardi's coming out, Cardi has been, this is something that she's been involved in. You know, if she is going to be a part of the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure that she's had to either practice or kind of get in the loop in terms of what's going to take place during Bad Bunny's performance so that she's in the know and she can perform accordingly. So I don't think that she would just be informed or asked at the last minute to, be on the world's biggest stages to perform. I just don't believe that. But that's just my opinion. Someone else said if Cardi had the power to rig the NFL, then Kamala Harris would be our president right now. And listen, I totally agree with that. I mean, if she had this type of power, trust and believe, I don't think that, we would be in the state that we're in because has been very vocal about politics. So that's what another person had to say. Another person said, The concept of Cardi B having enough power to be able to rig the NFL into sending the Patriots to the Super Bowl while also having a PR relationship with the man she had a baby with who love her dearly is so lunatic like thinking, flat brain thinking. Listen, I agree with most of that. I mean, it's crazy to me to think that she has that much power. But you guys let me know what you think. Do you think that Cardi B has enough power, enough pull with the NFL, or she's that big of a commodity where the NFL will just totally circle the Super Bowl around her and say, "Hey, we're going to do ads surrounding Cardi B and her relationship with Stefan, and we're going to make sure that she's performing, and we're just going to make sure that she's on every publication because we need Cardi B in order to sell the Super Bowl." Because that's essentially what this means. If you're saying that the Super Bowl has invested in Cardi B and Stefan's relationship in order to rig the Super Bowl, then what you're saying is that they need them in order to get sales, in order to get viewerships. And I just think that that's absurd. But that's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think down in the comment section about this. And let's go on to the next theory. We had another person that say, pay attention to how the NFL was paying ads to promote their relationship, the PR relationship, Bad Bunny performing and Pat's going to the Super Bowl. I bet she'll be on stage with Bad Bunny. This was solidified when his arraignment was pushed back to after the Super Bowl, all rigged. So that's another person that thinks that it was rigged, but that does take us into the next theory that people are kind of putting out there. So we can't overlook the fact that Stefon Diggs does have a pending case. And so a lot of people, after the whole theory about the NFL rigged this so that Cardi could perform and Stefan could go to the Super Bowl. After that really didn't make enough waves and it really wasn't trending like, the good things were trending. Then people started talking about Stefan's case and the fact that he shouldn't have been playing at all. So this is what some people were saying about that. Person said he shouldn't even be playing. He should be in jail, which is crazy to me because he hasn't been convicted of anything. So just forget about his First Amendment rights and just send him straight to jail. No trial, no jury, no anything. Just send him straight to jail. That's crazy to me. But I definitely can understand some people saying that they feel as though he shouldn't be playing, although that's not something that I personally agree with. I think that if you have not been proven guilty of a crime, then you are still innocent. And that's kind of how the United States, so far, the Constitution and everything sees you as well, innocent until proven guilty. And if you are innocent until proven guilty, then I don't think his rights should be stripped away from him while they're in the process of trying to figure this out and trying to either prove guilt or prove innocence. That's just my opinion on that part. Another person said, he shouldn't even be playing. Swear the NFL doesn't care about domestic violence. And I do agree with that. I definitely agree with the last part of that. Again, I've already said how I feel about him playing. I think that it's his right. He definitely deserves to play because he hasn't been convicted of anything. And if he was removed from the game with no evidence, then I think that that's taken away his rights. Now, if there was evidence, hardcore evidence that, what, he did do this even before being convicted, then I think that that kind of puts this in a totally different light. But the latter part of that, where it says the NFL doesn't care about domestic violence, I do agree about that because there has been a lot of people that have been convicted of different crimes that are heinous to me, and I feel like, and I want to say that I feel like domestic violence is a heinous crime, and it should be condemned. But yeah, I do feel like the NFL will overlook it for money. That's just my opinion on that. But as you can see, there was a lot of people that had a lot of things to say, and there was a lot of narratives that were moving around. But that did not stop the love that the two of them were getting from, just as I stated, from different news outlets. I think everybody was tapped in. And listen, you can say what you will, you can say what you want, but Cardi B is an interesting individual. And when I say interesting, people want to know more about her life. And I don't know what that is other than the it factor because it could be Stefon Diggs or it could be the mailman. And I feel as though people would still be invested in that relationship because they're tied to Cardi B. So I think it's more or less her that kind of creates this buzz because I mean she has an it factor that makes people want to know what's going on in her life. But that's just my opinion on the situation. You guys let me know what you think. Do you think that, Stefan shouldn't have been playing at all? Do you think that the Patriots should have benched him or the NFL should have benched him and said, "Hey, you can't play until we figure out this situation with your pending domestic violence case." Even though, and let me say this, I want to point out because not a lot of people are saying this. There is no evidence of domestic violence. There is no evidence that he did what he did in terms of what's been presented to the public. Now, I don't know what they have behind the scenes, and that's what the arraignment is for, and we'll know more then. But in terms of what's been presented to us, there's absolutely no evidence. All we have is he say, she say. So, do you think that he should be benched based on he say, she say? I mean, I could very well, say today that, the trash guy, assaulted me and decide not to press charges until 5 months later when there is no evidence of anything and just go to the police and say, hey, he did A, B, C, and D. And if there's nothing to back that up, it's my word against his. And so do you think that that person should just be in prison because of what I said, or should there be a thorough investigation? And if there's no evidence, it is what it is. But again, this is a really interesting to me, a really interesting topic because it lets you see what other people think and how they kind of process things. Do you think that the NFL has rigged the Super Bowl for Cardi B and for Stephon Diggs? Do you think the Patriots are automatically going to win because the NFL needs them to win because of Cardi B and Stephon? And do you think that the NFL rigged the Super Bowl halftime show so that Cardi B performs? You guys drop your comments down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video.